don't you tell me a little about how you came to painting and your background in painting?
他就想问您，说是您当时是怎么转向画画的？
我觉得艺术是相通的。
You said art is more or less the same because he used to be an actor. So you can use acting to express your feelings towards something, and painting as well. So he said when he went to the mountains and then he saw the beautiful landscapes, so he just wanted to paint them. He said he used to paint some colorful landscape paintings, but then he prefers purely ink because ink is not just black. If you can use the technique pretty well, then you have so many colors out of from one color. So he prefers to kind of master this kind of technique and then practice. So mainly his painting is ink, black and white, whatever, Chinese ink painting. Of course, traditional art, Chinese art techniques are very important, and mainly the Chinese painters, they do study the Chinese traditional painting and techniques first, and then after a while, after you have the skills, then you practice, you put your own stuff in it. If you want to put more clouds, for example, into the paintings, it really very much depends on you.
Now, what strikes me in many of them is that they seem to capture a certain moment, a certain essence of a moment, if you will. Is this what he's going for, the essence of a moment?
他是想问您，看您的画吧，好像每一幅画呢，好像都是一个特殊的时刻，都是说，比如说云彩刚过去，然后天刚晴，然后马上画下这个，这是不是就是您所要追求的那种意境？
黄山最美的时候，就是下过雨，天晴了，这时候云雾全起来了。我就想把这个云雾的变化，有时候云彩一过去以后，把这个山就给它蒙着没有了。云过去以后呢，这山又出来了，这种烟云的变化呀，非常美。我想把这个表现出来。它那个云彩是非常轻，树呢也非常奇特，长得特别好看，山石也很怪，这是黄山的特点，所以我想把它给画出来。
Mr. Liu's favorite place is Yellow Mountain, a mountain very famous, very beautiful in China. And he only paints that mountain. And he said, of course, it's because firstly, it's beautiful. And secondly, he wants to grasp the feeling when, especially after the rain or a storm, when all the clouds cleared out and the sun comes out and then the mountains, in your sight again. And then when it's raining, everything's covered, everything's dark. And then suddenly all the clouds just disappeared from nowhere. And it's a nice feeling. He wants to paint the changes. He wants to put the feeling inside his painting.
You're here in Amsterdam for an exhibition. A lot of us, myself included, don't know much about the art scene in China itself. Are exhibitions similar to this held in China?
他说呢，说您在阿姆斯特丹就待这么一段时间，然后开这么一个小画展。他说我们也不知道在中国的画展是什么样的，是像这种类型的吗？如果要是个人开画展，
不是，中国我在荣宝斋办过画展，那是10年以前，很大很隆重，当时的画界的、电影界的，那么一些有名的人都去了，人很多。这个地方呢，我第一次来这里。这地方很小，我想把这些很少的作品吧，展示一下，叫大家有个了解。将来有机会呢，如果能够办得大一点呢，那更好。我会办得更好，那就是。
Mr. Liu said, well, in China it's quite different from this because he once done a very big art exhibition about his paintings. In one of the very famous shops in Beijing, the capital. It's antique and art shop. And he invited so many people, so many his friends in art and acting field. And he said, here, this is his first time in Europe, having his paintings exhibited. But it seems a little bit smaller than the one in China. And he said it doesn't really matter to him because he's a foreigner and coming to a foreign land. And the first time he wants to just let the foreigners, the Dutch people or whoever, to get the first kind of impression about the Chinese landscape or Chinese traditional paintings. And then if in the future we have chance, then probably we have bigger one and to let more people to understand this, to know it. That's all.
Well, tell him this is one of the most beautiful days we've had in Holland in the last 6 months, and everybody's at the beach.
他说今天呢是天气特别特别好，而且大家所有的人都在海滩上，可能也都不在城市里。
是的，我来的时候就，这2天在这儿呢，就参加这画展。过2天也许就到别的地儿去转一转，看一看。
He said he's quite lucky to be here when it's the weather's like this, and then he's probably going to be traveling inside of Europe afterwards for a while.
Now, a little bit more. When he paints, what does he use in the painting? Are they traditional Chinese brushes, which I've seen of bamboo with fur from an animal? And does he use ink or ink blocks? Or what are his materials for doing his paintings?
他就想问您画画的这些工具都是什么？刷子、墨都是什么东西？
主要就是墨笔了，他大的画嘛用大一点的笔，小画用小的。
Actually, not much. Inks, of course, should be blocked, and then you do it yourself. If you want the color to be light, you put more water. To be very dark, then you do it long time and leave it out for a while, and then. But bigger paintings normally use bigger brushes. Small ones, or if you emphasize on little leaves and things, you use very small brushes. But it's really still very much depends on your techniques. So you basically use all kinds of brushes and then all kinds of good inks.
And one last question, and this is probably what happens at the end of every painting. What does the stamp and the characters signify on each painting?
他就问您说的那个墨，您最后画完了画以后，然后他那个标题和名字，还有您的章都代表什么？因为外国人听不懂这是什么意思。
就根据这个画的那个内容呢，我想出一个题目来，把它简单的给它概括一下。一般我写的很简单，这样一看一目了然。比如这个黄山的云雾啊，黄山的那个非常高大的峰呢，我就奇峰啊，比如说人把黄山给形容是人间的仙境啊，就把它简单的起一个名字，这样一看就明白就行了。
He says basically, Chinese paintings you normally give names. I think like all the paintings in the world, you normally give names to your painting. And for example, if this is one of your favorite paintings, then you're probably going to think for a few days and have a name finally come out for it. And then the stem stands for, well, it's called seal. And you just put your full name in it. And it just, everybody would know it's you who painted it. It's very important. Normally, I think all the Chinese paintings do have seals on it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today, and thank you.
You're welcome. 谢谢您。
谢谢 ，Thank you very much.
谢谢。Thank you.
谢谢。